Yeah, and then, and discipline ultimately leads to the formation of healthy identity in kids. And so, when that starts happening, now I feel like that's when you really are empowering your kids, because if they learn through the way we discipline them that, hey, the reason you don't do blank, you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal, you don't, be disrespectful to authority, you don't do these things. The reason you don't is because you are God's kid.
Right.
And you were designed on purpose for a purpose. And this is how you are. This is who you are. What you were just doing doesn't line up with who you are.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Okay, honey, we are back.
All right.
I'm excited to hear all the multiple reasons why you love me. I mean, why you're doing this podcast.
Oh, there's not enough time on this podcast to go over all the reasons I love you, honey.
That'll be a 10-parter.
Oh, probably even longer than that, hon. That'd be not enough time for me.
Hey, what time did the man go to the dentist?
I wouldn't know.
2:30. Tooth hurty. 2:30. You laughed a little bit. You couldn't.
That was kind of a kooky one there. That was a kooky.
That was kind of bad.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, okay, they're dad jokes.
So let's tell people why we want to do this podcast.
Okay. So I think, kind of jump into it now in a different perspective. I mean, I thought, we started on it in the last one. But, a lot of it was, again, I wanted to make sure we had a home that had a peaceful atmosphere. Mm-hmm. I really wanted, when you walked in, there was connection, not disconnect in our home. I wanted structure that made sense for the masses of what we were doing, the masses of people in our home, and I wanted it to be a home, not just a house. How many times have people walked into our home and said, wow, it just feels like home here. Mm-hmm. It feels like home. Mm-hmm. I love your family pictures. I love the way you don't have the TV going on. I love how your kids are laughing and playing. I love that you have toys available for the kids, like arts and crafts, like whatever it might be.
Yeah. I love how your kids are polite and how they listen and how they're respectful. And, we get a lot of really positive compliments like that. And, so it's not always what you see in other places.
How you feel.
Right. And so I think a big part of why you and I both, but you especially, I think, really want to be able to memorialize some of this information that we learned to be able to get a house to a level of structure, to a level of peace, to a level of having an effective connection within the home. You want to be able to teach parents how to get away from the chaos, how to get away from the reacting, how to get away from the lack of intentionality in order to turn it into a home of peace and structure and comfort, right? That's a big part for you.
Oh, for sure it is. I mean, again, helping families feel more connected in their home, to me, is like a top priority on why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Another thing I think too is, remembering that a healthy home atmosphere changes everything. Mm-hmm. It makes it a place that people want to come to, specifically your family.
Yeah.
I always want our kids to know they can come home. Mm-hmm. But to have that, you have to have a home that they want to come to.
It's good.
You know what I mean? When they're little, you can force them. But as they get older, I want them to know, like, home is where our family is.
Yeah.
So I wanted to explain that to people. I wanted to make sure that we were very consistent all the time with our discipline. I wanted our kids to know what to expect. Mm-hmm. We talk about it all the time. We have standards in our home.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should, and we're going to do things according to what God tells us to do, not according to what we feel all the time. And in that's how we run our household. So in our household, we don't allow, name it, lying. Lying is not okay in our household. I mean, so there will be a reaction to, if you choose to lie, there will be consequences. And our kids know what those are up front. I want to explain to parents that, your kids want to be disciplined. And I didn't know that at first.
Yeah, and discipline isn't anger. It isn't
No.
harshment. It isn't even punishment,
Nope.
right? It's really about, I love you enough in order to guide you. I am discipling you, right? I'm preparing you to have success in life in every single way. It's like there's so many layers. I love talking about that topic. I feel like it is the secret sauce in any home. It's a healthy understanding from parents of what discipline means, right? That it means discipleship, and it means discipleship of kids that aren't even your kids; they're God's kids.
Right? I couldn't agree more. And I think once we read and learned and applied, they're not our kids; they're God's kids, and we get to steward them here on earth. Then things became a little more clear in our heads.
Yeah, we're managers, not owners,
and therefore
managers can get fired if you don't follow the owner's will.
Right.
Yeah.
And at any given point, if you don't do it His way, there's going to be situations in your own personal life that may not allow you to do parenting like you think. Your kids might not want to be parented by you when they become adults. And maybe again, you can force it when they're young, but they do get to come to a point where they are like, if mom and dad are not doing this biblically, I want to follow what the Lord tells me, even if they don't.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to help parents with that. We weren't aware of that kind of stuff, and it brought peace in our life once we learned that and we could teach others.
Yeah, and then, and discipline ultimately leads to the formation of healthy identity in kids. And so, when that starts happening, now I feel like that's when you really are empowering your kids, because if they learn through the way we discipline them that, hey, the reason you don't do blank, you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal, you don't, be disrespectful to authority. You don't do these things. The reason you don't is because you are God's kid.
Right.
And you were designed on purpose for a purpose. And this is how you are. This is who you are. What you were just doing doesn't line up with who you are. And that is such a powerful thing, because now that forms how they're going to perceive things when we're not around.
Well, and that's how we trust them out in the world. I mean, again, I really think it was important for us to teach there is discipline, but there's also love.
Yeah.
There's guidance.
Yeah.
There's peace in us consistently teaching them the ways of the Lord. Again, we wanted them to make sure their identity was rooted in the Word of God, not just in words that we were saying.
Yeah.
So I wanted to help other parents with that. We didn't know the power of speaking over our kids.
Right.
We understood words had power because the Word of God says that. But, consistently praying and speaking over them every single night. I've done that since the first time I held them. We have words that the kids say, and I used to say it all the time over them, and now they say them back to me. And it's speaking who they are in God's eyes. And I wanted to teach other parents that, because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think another thing on why I wanted to start the podcast was, that kids want connection. They want connection. And you know what? So do parents. I want to be connected to our kids the whole time I'm living here on earth. And so I want to live up to a standard with my kids. I needed to learn what that looked like to be a parent that wasn't just emotional all the time, but that actually is taking it serious enough to apply it every single day.
Yeah, this topic is a big one, because I feel like we all are created in, I know we're all created in the image of God, and I think that's something that God really cares about, is legacy. He cares about his kids duplicating healthy ways of living, knowing who they are and whose they are, being optimized to function and be able to be successful in whatever that it is that they do. And I feel like the world somehow has twisted this. I mean, go figure, right? But it's twisted it to think that, okay, there's so many parents that I see that are literally running through walls, sacrificing everything in order to be able to try to leave some kind of financial legacy for their kids. Like as long as I'm successful enough that I left my kids this, that they have a good start in the next phase. But I don't know if that part's really that important. I think it is important, but I don't think it's that important. I think what matters more is what kind of legacy are you going to leave through your kids through the things that you teach them about who they are and how they're going to act and how they're going to function and who they're going to become, and that they're children of God, and all the things that you have to put so much intentionality into. There's this, we have to get away from this mindset that our job is to just like keep kids safe and help them get through, graduating high school and surviving through that phase. And now they send them out in the world and they got to go figure out who they are.
Yeah.
I think we got to teach them who they are while they're being raised. And then this is just phase one. Now, as I've mentioned to you before, I think our greatest intentionality in parenting is just starting right now with 17-year-olds. I think 17 to 30 is going to be a season that we have to be on our game more than ever. We have to be there more than ever. We have to be available in a really intense way in order to be able to create that family legacy. You know what I mean? So that way it's generational, and it isn't just that, oh man, our kids were really great until they were 18 years old. No, they've raised world changers now. They've raised champions too. And it's just generation after generation of just raising healthy, awesome kids. Right?
It was a lot. I was like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, that's heavy, what you just said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what you're telling parents is it's just beginning when they turn 18.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, that's heavy.
Well, and on top of that too, I mean, we're going kind of getting off path here a little bit, but even I know we have a lot of things that we want to do, helping our kids have down payments on homes and helping make sure that, they like helping them in a financial sense out of the gate, but also positioning them where they can stay close in proximity to us.
Correct.
And a lot of that isn't just because we feel so needy or we want to try to put them in a box. It's a lot more about, I just know when we're all in proximity to each other, we're going to raise their kids together, right? And then there'll be another generation that will do the same thing. There's never been anything more inspiring to me than when I actually see a family who has multiple generations that are closely connected and they all work together to raise for their champions of their bloodline. Like, it's so inspiring to me. I know it has to be a God thing because it connects with my soul so deeply, right? And so I want to create that. But my point is, though, even if we got all of our kids' homes in our neighborhood, and even if we had all that, but if we don't build the right stuff into them that then they duplicate into their kids, then we're not leaving a healthy legacy, right? All we did was financially help out some people who we don't even know how they're going to end up raising their kids. You see what I mean? So like legacy leaves after them. I want to leave legacy through multiple generations of kids who are honoring, kids who are respectful, kids who care about connection, kids who care about building each other up, kids who have strong faith, kids who are community builders, kids who are honest, kids who are loving, kids who see the best in other people and help bring the best out of people around them. Like all the things that matter to us when we look at our kids and we say, we're really proud of that and we're really proud of that and really proud of that. I want that duplicated through every person from us down, from now on. And that takes way more work than helping them get homes. You know what I mean? So
it's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. I think
I'm really kind of zoning you out with this one here. What's going on?
Well, I just took such a turn. I'm like trying to, I'm not zoned out. I'm just like, this is deep. You know what I mean? Like it's more of a heavier topic. You know what I mean? And I think that's just, it takes a moment to understand it. I mean, you and I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for our listeners, they're probably like, what?
Yeah.
Like, so that's what I'm trying to do is slow down. I mean, it's like we always talk about, it's parenting with purpose, and so I think did you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, and it just leads to this whole overall topic. This is why we do this podcast, because we want other people to be encouraged to do that too. And we want to help equip people and be on the journey with you if that is a desire of yours. Hopefully, if it's not been a desire of yours, hopefully it wakes up a desire for you to do this. Because it isn't because we want you to be like us. It's because we want you to be more like how you were designed to be. I just think this is by God's design. And so when you start waking up to how God's design is, there's a level of happiness and a level of joy and a level of power in it when you start doing things that are in alignment with how God made you, right? Yeah. And so the other part of doing a podcast like this that we kind of forget sometimes is one of the reasons that we started this a few years ago was because we knew while we're in this season of raising kids at the age they are right now, and in particular Hunter, right? We knew that once we don't have kids that age in our house anymore, you forget about all the things you were doing. And so we wanted to memorialize a lot of the stuff that we were building in particular because of this legacy concept. So I envision that our kids, when they start having kids, we're going to be like, listen to all of our episodes of high performance parenting, right? Why? Because now they're going to be taking notes and they're going to be like, oh, I can't remember you guys doing that, but I was on the other side of it. I was the kid. I wasn't the one learning how to prepare for a kid. And so it's just a way of us memorializing even a lot of the things that we've learned and that we're doing. Right?
Yeah.
So
that's good. I think it's really good when you kind of open up the mind to a whole new perspective on why God created us. And some of that has to do with the fact, again, and I was just thinking about this when you're like, I know this is meant to be, we're supposed to help generations, like pretty much guide, raise, equip next generation. You know what I mean? We're not just supposed to all just float off and do our own thing and say, well, I mean, that season with my family was great, but I'm just going to go do my own thing now. I like what you said with that, because that is our heartbeat. And it dawned on me, I think that the reason we know it's right too is because it's so hard too. Anything worth really pursuing is not going to be easy. Right. There's going to be so many pushbacks.
It's going to be fought against, if anything.
And if we can think about our social media today, or if we can think about, the news, or if we can think about communities or something like that, where then they almost want to poke fun at you like, whoa, what, you want to live by your kids? Oh gosh, I can't wait for my kids to get out of the house. I'm ready to go live my own life. Like, does that sound healthy? Like, you had them so that you could then leave them and just go live your own life? Like, do you get what I'm saying? So that's like the normal conversation we hear from people. Sure. Even. And
those people learned that somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably their parents said stuff like that. Correct. Or people around them.
And they never questioned it.
Yeah, and they didn't even know to question it. But ultimately, you kind of say that stuff out loud, and then you lay in bed at night, and you're like, I don't know if I really do want that. But I'm going to stick to it because,
I've said it so many times, and I'm going to believe. But it just makes me realize everything you're talking about, it's going to be a challenge to do so. There's going to be pushback because of it. And people are going to have to stretch themselves and inconvenience themselves, and really at times almost control your flesh. Because you know what? All of us at times don't actually want the next generation responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us at times are just like, let's let the next generation take care of the next generation.
All right. Let's continue this one more part.
Okay.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening, and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.